And bam, we're back with another ArtSnacks box. This is literally just arrived through the post box this morning and I was too excited to see what was in this, so I have pre-sliced. So let's open up this bad boy and see what we have for the month of July. So this is everything in this month's box. Again, this was sent to me by ArtSnacks, so thank you ArtSnacks for sending me this box free of charge to try out and showcase to you guys. We have the standard box again this month, but this is our little package for July. So our sweet for this month is a Crybaby. It says extra sour bubblegum, and let's open up this little package to see what we have in here. These are adorable. Look at that, that's quite snazzy. I like this. It's gonna look really nice on my little bullet journal. So I knew from a few comments on Instagram and on my YouTube videos that watercolors are going to feature for the box for July. Apparently it's on the ArtSnacks website or something, a little preview, but I didn't actually have a look, and it was mentioned that Daniel Smith watercolors were going to be on that, and I am so excited to try these guys out. I've heard nothing but good stuff about these watercolors. I've tried Winsor & Newton and some Shinhan watercolors before, but I've never tried Daniel Smith because they've always been like way too expensive for me to try out and buy here for how often I dabble in watercolour, so I'm really excited to try these. We have the colours Pyral Scarlet, which is a really nice red shade. Pretty sure that's how you're meant to say that. Nice, really kind of good looking red shade. I'm really excited to try this one out. And we also have Phthalo Blue. I'm really excited to try this because it's one of my favourite pencil colours, and I also like other Phthalo Blues in other watercolour brands, so I'm really happy with these two colours, and we can create some purples by mixing them together, so I'm happy about these. And these are really cute 5ml tubes. Look how tiny they are, they're just so adorable. Now it's nice to know that ArtSnacks have actually supplied a paintbrush this month. I know when we've had watercolour things before, there hasn't always been a paintbrush, and it's been like, well, how am I supposed to do this if there isn't a paintbrush? So this month we have a Princeton Aqua Elite. It is a size 8 round, and it's a synthetic Kolinsky hair. This is really nice. The handle is like velvety almost in feel, and the bristles feel really nice as well. Probably not the best idea to touch them, but I always like to do this with new paintbrushes. But this is a number 8 round. So we also have a General's Sketch and Wash pencil. It says create dramatic washes of grey and black using this water-soluble soft black graphite pencil with a brush and some water, or draw directly on wet paper to darken lines and details. Okay, oh, this is quite a nice, I like the brand Generals. They've included other Generals products in previous boxes and they've always been really good. So I'm excited to try this one as well. It's got a really nice look to this pencil. So I'm not sure like what grade of pencil, whether this even has a grade of pencil. I think it's meant to be a 588 on the ends, so perhaps I'll look that up and see what that's supposed to mean. But General Sketch and Wash, it's got a really nice kind of chrome effect to the end of the pencil there. So we can get some really kind of nice sketches and maybe some sort of graphicness going on with this pencil, I don't know. And lastly in this box we have a Sakura Pigma graphic pen, the 1mm bullet nib. Oh, okay. I was expecting it to be like really kind of fine, but this is just like a felt tip kind of pen. So this has archival ink apparently, and it's waterproof and fade proof. So we'll see if it's waterproof. I tend to think that Sakura is a good brand and they kind of stick to their words, so perhaps this will be better than that last month's box where it's supposed to be waterproof but it wasn't. I really like these pens. I can never get enough of these. Hopefully this will all work really nicely together. I'm excited about this. I have some good feelings. I'm going to look up, like I did my last month, I'm going to look up to see what kind of surface came with the Plus box and see if I have that kind of surface so we can best replicate the results of what you would get with like the Plus box as well, and also just see if there's any other kind of supplies that I may have that we could probably like test out in the sketchbook phase of this. I'm already having some good ideas of what to do with these tiny things. So once again, say thank you to ArtSnacks for sending me this box free of charge. Of course, I will always give my honest opinions of the supplies and everything in this box. I also just thought that I would mention the prices this month. Now, usually in previous boxes, the price hasn't been like that much more expensive than if you would buy the supplies yourself. They've often given like some quite cheap supplies and not really made up a good value box. But this month, supposedly, the Princeton Kalinsky Synthetic Sable is $21.95 retail. The Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolors range between $9.42 and $12.60 each. And then we've just got these two pens, $2.99 for the Sakura and $1.49 for the General's Sketch and Wash. So already we've got some good value on this box, which I am liking. As for value, this month's box is absolutely bang on point, so I'm really pleased with that. Good job, ArtSnacks. So let's get creating. Enough waffling, let's use these supplies and try and create some kind of animal thing. As always, the very first thing that I did was crack out my sketchbook and try these paints. So I used a Fabriano paper, a watercolor hot press paper, just to try these out. And first of all, I tried the red. I tried wet on dry, so I didn't pre-wet the paper, and then I tried wet on wet because you get different techniques by using both methods. So I wanted to see what kind of look that I liked, whether it kind of granulated. I'm not too kind of clued up on the ins and outs of watercolor, but I usually use the wet on wet method, and usually the colors kind of fade a little bit when you use that method, and that was the case with these. But the application of the watercolors onto the paper, the really rich pigment, was absolutely amazing. Cannot fault them. They were just as I expected, really high quality watercolors, and yeah, I really enjoyed trying these out. I also tried to mix a purple, but I realized that the phthalo blue was actually a green shade, so I knew that when I mixed this with the red, because it was quite a cool shade, that it was going to make a really kind of dirty looking purple, which wasn't best for me. I kind of was hoping for a really kind of nice bright vibrant purple from mixing the two colours, but I mixed a lot of blue in with the red to create a kind of cooler tone purple, and then I mixed a lot of red with the blue, and it kind of made this really kind of nice kind of Indian red browny colour. I then tried the pencil out. That was really nice to apply to the paper. The pencil itself was kind of like a mixture between a watercolor pencil and a graphite pencil. It kind of had like a buttery texture almost, and that was really good to use as well. It mixed really well with the water, activated really nicely, no complaints there. And the Sakura Pigma marker pen thing, that was in fact waterproof. It did bleed a little bit, but I just didn't allow it to settle and dry on the paper as long as possible, but when I actually created the piece, I left it to dry and it was fine. I just added it over the top. But yeah, I was really happy with all of these products. They work really well together. I tried the pencil on the paint, I tried the pen on the paint. Everything was really nice and opaque. The pencil went over both the blue and the red colours, so I was really happy with that. So on to my actual piece for this. I kind of was a little bit stumped as what to draw to begin with, but then I realised that I had my own reference photo that I've recently taken of a butterfly, and it was a really nice vibrant blue, and I thought, that'll go really nice with that blue paint. Now, for sketching this out, I didn't want to use the Sketch and Wash pencil, because if I'm going to apply watercolour over the top, it's going to activate, and then I thought I'd get really kind of muddy colours, so I didn't want that. So I just cracked out my own mechanical pencil, drew the outline of the butterfly, and then I decided that I wanted to do a background because the butterfly was going to be blue, and I was thinking, how on earth can I incorporate the red? I was going to incorporate the red to sort of build in the shadows like I was doing with those little colour mix on the sketchbook. And then I thought, well, I can do like a really kind of smoky effect background with the red, and that's what I wanted to do. That's what I proceeded to do. So I used the wet and wet method because I didn't want a really kind of strong, vibrant red. I kind of wanted it to fade out a little bit, just be a little bit less vibrant, kind of washed out. So I just wetted the paper. I used a squirrel mop from Jackson's Art Supplies for this, actually, not the paintbrush that was included. And then I decided on the right hand side, I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool if I did like a gradation into a darker tone, so incorporating some of the blues to create that kind of maroony purple effect. So that's what I did on the second half. I just mixed up some colours and then did the wet and wet method here again, just dropped in some of the colour, let it disperse so that it will become really kind of washed out and desaturated. I didn't want the background to kind of overpower the actual main event of the butterfly. And when I was doing this at first, I was kind of like, this isn't the kind of look that I was going for here. I wasn't really vibing with the background. It just kind of looked a bit like a mess. When I was streaming on Twitch, people were saying that it just kind of had like an autumn vibe, and I was like, that could be cool. But I decided to carry on because I wanted to add in the butterfly. I wanted to do those really vibrant blues. So first of all, I put down a really watery mix of the blue. It was kind of like really translucent blue. You could barely almost see the blue on the paper, just on the lightest parts of the wings. And then I added in just pure colour from the tube of the blue and just let that disperse out into that lighter area. Again, kind of using like the wet and wet method and this dispersion effect. If you followed any of my watercolour work previously, you'll know that I absolutely love working like this. I like to kind of mix it up from my coloured pencil work, just be a little bit more free. So I was really enjoying just letting the paint do as it wanted and just sort of flow together. And I got a nice colour variation from the kind of pure phthalo blue green shade, and then it kind of dispersed into this lighter effect right next to the body, and I was really pleased with that. I let all of the layers dry and then I layered up using exactly the same process again, so I could get a stronger blue colour on the ends of the wings, because the ends of the wings from the reference were kind of almost black, and I knew that I was going to build up to kind of add in some of the red shades so I can get some really dark shadows and perhaps even add some of that pencil. But I just built up all of the blue colours, just let them all bleed together, just had a really nice fun time working with these watercolours. They went down so smoothly. I'm really pleased with how these watercolours actually combined with each other as well. When I was layering up, I didn't get that much reactivation from the previous layer, and I kind of worked on secondary layers. I worked more of a dry wet on dry method, so I just let the paper kind of dry, and then I went in with a wet brush obviously and worked on top, and then just sort of dispersed everything out. But I ended up mixing quite a bit of the red into the blue to get the dark edges of the wings. They weren't as dark as I really wanted them to go because I only had the red and the blue, and mixing those together could only give you a certain level of darkness, and even layering it up only gave a certain level of darkness. But I was really happy with the effect. I just added in a little bit more of the pure blue from the tube to just disperse the darker edges of the wings out into that lighter area once more. I also used a negative space method to add in the white parts of the wings, because obviously I've got no white paint. Usually I would use like a white gouache or something to add in the white areas, but I didn't have that, so I just left those sort of negative space just painted around them, and I really liked the effect of that as well. So I added in all of the wing colour and got the effect that I really wanted, and then I was like, well, I haven't used the General's Sketch on Wash yet, and I kind of didn't really know how to incorporate this, so I just kind of added it to the body just to give it like a shimmery shiny effect. added in a little bit of water to activate it, to kind of make it go darker. Didn't really darken it as well as the paint did, so I just kind of ended up going in with the paint on the body. Added a little bit more of a darker mixture to the wings as well. As I was getting a little bit darker on the body, I noticed that the wings were getting lighter, so I just kind of needed to balance out the contrast a little bit more, and I was really happy with the direction in which this was going. And again, if you've followed any of my watercolour work, you'll know that I really like to add splatters into a lot of my pieces. It's really taken me back to when I very first got back into my art. I used to do watercolours like this, so I incorporated the blue into the background a little bit with some blue splatters, just to kind of make it almost look like there was like magical butterfly dust coming off the wings or something. I don't know, I was just kind of trying to come up with some ways on how to incorporate the two colour schemes together. But yeah, that's what I ended up doing, and I like the effect of it. To incorporate the marker, I just went through and added some veins on the wings, a little bit of detail, a little bit of like a sketchy outline. Again, this is kind of what I used to do with my watercolour pieces. I also added in some really dark areas onto the body, added in the antennae, and I like the effect of using a pen like this on top of watercolour GIFs. I really like the effect. It's kind of simple, but the two mediums just work really, really well together. And then I thought, well, seeing as I'm going back to my watercolour roots, I may as well add in these, makes it look like the butterflies breaking through clouds. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically my piece for this. I really enjoyed this box. I'm so pleased that all of the materials actually worked together. That was my biggest qualm with the last box, is that they just didn't really gel and work as a unit. But let me know what you think of this butterfly piece down in the description below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comment section. As always, if you're new around here and you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.